This is a video of a star or a light being, light particle, I'm not sure what to call it, but he first appeared as a human with a red headlamp on, and that's the color red you see here, and he pops up and he kind of morphs into a human shape. Now, I've made a bunch of clips of this, and then I'll add the full-length video at the end of these clips. But I've just zoomed in, slowed it down, and changed the filters on it, made it brighter. So the story behind this is pretty amazing. That morning, I had this thought to go to the beach that I always go to, which is on the Atlantic, right next to Boston International Airport, Logan Airport in Massachusetts, United States. And I had the idea to make the biggest heart I could out of white seashells for the planes flying overhead, so people would see this big, beautiful heart. And when on my way to the beach driving, I took a wrong turn, even though I go to that beach 2 to 3 times a week, so I knew it was the universe, and the universe wanted me to see something. So I was hyper alert, and I ended up seeing this man on the street on his back, and he had just died. There was police surrounding him. There was an ambulance on its way. I could see the ambulance coming down the hill, and when I looked at the man's body in this like dark side street, everything slowed down, and it was the most peaceful sight I've ever seen. I couldn't even be sad. It was so peaceful, and he was so at peace, and I could see his spirit, or his soul, come out of his body and start going up to the sky. So I jumped up there with him, and I kept his soul or spirit company, and I couldn't even be sad because he was celebrating his life. And so I celebrated his life with him. And then I got to the beach, and it was already dark, and the moment I stepped over the seawall, this guy with the red headlamp, I could see him out of the corner of my eye. He stepped over the seawall the exact same moment. And, even the same leg, okay? Now, this was very strange because it was cold, and it was October, so this is the full video. Or not the full video, but one of the videos I taped that night. Look at my shadow, okay? There's the big heart. Look at all those lights going crazy in the ocean, right? Those are the light chips. Now look at this other shadow right here. I always have 2 shadows on this beach. So I was there for 3 hours, you guys. 3 hours on the beach, collecting shells, making this heart, and the moment I touched the sand to carve the heart with my hand, I felt like, oh my god, that's way too harsh. I want to caress Mother Earth. I had this amazing desire and need. See that guy in the red hoodie? I was wicked aware of him. See this window in the top left corner? Has a green sphere in it, or a green glowing head. I know that they're there looking out for me. Every time I would go like this and look up into the clouds and turn to the other side, I felt like I was switching in and out of dimensions. And here I look for that glowing green head again, I see it. And so I'm kind of looking for the guy with the red headlamp, because he kept 30 feet away from me for 3 hours, you guys. He kept closer to the ocean, right close to these freaking light chips that I could see. For months they'd been doing this. They'd be stars, and then they would shine some light into the ocean. Sometimes a bird would form at the end of it, and then they would turn into an airplane and fly away. I've been watching them for months do this, and I couldn't connect with them, so I was like, whatever, this night. And here's the guy in the red headlamp, and I kept kept my camera on him for a little bit longer than I normally would have, because I would have felt rude. But you guys, I was in the zone. I was pulling like these sacred geometry rituals out of me while I was in the heart. I had reggae music playing. 3 hours I was there, and this guy kept pace with me all the way till I walked off the beach. So finally I had a conversation with him, and during the conversation, his red lamp was shining in my eyes, so I could only see his mouth, and I couldn't connect with him. And I asked him, have you been here before? He said no. I said, you see anything weird tonight? Meaning these ships, light ships. He said, oh, no. I said, oh. I said, what's the coolest thing you ever found? He said, I once found a 1772 halfpenny. He said, but no jewelry or anything. I said, oh, that's cool. And I couldn't connect with him, right? It was just like not cold or anything. I couldn't connect. I also asked him, where do you usually go? He said abandoned warehouses or lakes. And I think that was the last question I asked him. So I walked back to my car, and he walked back also. We walked back over the seawall, the same leg, okay? He was parked on my left. There was a white gentleman parked to my right, and he had a clipboard and was like smiling at me, and I thought it was kind of odd. But the guy with the red headlamp, I should explain that he had a shovel in one hand, like a 2-foot shovel with a wooden stem or whatever you want to call it, a big metal shovel part. It was like 2 to 3 feet in one hand, and he had a metal detector in the other hand, okay? So he was parked next to me in a pickup, and he threw his shovel in there, and I said, see you later, or have a good night. And I rolled down my window, but he was in a rush and he didn't hear me, so I said a little louder. And then, so I just pulled out and started driving, and I noticed that he was right behind me in my rearview mirror. So I drove a little bit further, and I noticed he was still there, so I took a sharp right into my 24-hour gym to lose him. And I did, and I came out of the gym, and I was watching some of the videos I took during the 3 hours I was there, and I noticed his white headlamp floating up into the sky next to these frickin' stars and floating there. This guy. I was like, what? I recorded it, I rewound it, made sure it was him, and it was. This guy that I thought I could not connect with had actually floated up into the sky with the stars, or the light ships, or airplanes, or whatever you want to call them, and had come back down and then morphed, and that's why he's probably morphing again in this red light. And I couldn't believe it. I was dying laughing in the parking lot watching this video, noticing and realizing this, thinking, wow, I thought I could not connect with this person, and he was a freaking star. Like, what? So I was laughing, and I knew that him and whatever else he was part of, these stars or light ships, were laughing with me, and that's when I started to play Star games with them instead of Star Wars. You see what I mean? So that night, while I was inside of the star, I went backwards, and I was taken back to like my childhood playground at like age 5, and I let myself go there, and I felt like I was spinning around on this old school merry-go-round in my childhood playground, and I just was there. I was like in 2 worlds at the same time, which now this is amazing because I ended up moving 6 months after I recorded this, and that childhood playground, I ended up moving down the street from it in a different country, okay? If that makes any sense to you, but it makes all the sense in the world to me. So, anyways, after I saw this and I realized that he was one of them, I went back to the beach and I buried a 1972 penny, which was the first penny I pulled out of my huge jar of penny of change, of course, and a watch and a piece of pyrite gold and some other gemstones and jewels that had to do with the conversation that we had. So I ended up going back and burying it in the heart 2 weeks later, and he ended up appearing as a star again and unburying it within like seconds, and they fast forwarded the ocean, like they made time go like 4 times as fast, and a whole bunch of other things. And that's when as long as I could keep my childhood, my childlike spirit and laughter and lightness about this whole thing, they're willing to like show me more and more. And that's how it's been going. And it's great. They show me so much. And usually they don't show me all. They let me videotape everything. And which is great because I couldn't process most of it if I was seeing everything at once. But I think that that's when my PTSD actually is a tool for me. So is my ADD and my alcoholism. So they've all been tools that have come in very handy in this lifetime. This final lap in this planet. Turns out I wasn't the first person to get the message about the big white heart. I went to my first UFO meeting shortly after this to connect and share, and after I shared, a girl came up, grabbed my hand, and told me that she was also told, and another girl, and then she was like, "What are you doing after this meeting?" And I was like, "Nothing," and in my mind I was going, "Let's go to the beach." And so she took me to her beach, and we saw a fleet of lightships, and they it was amazing. They all showed up again, and yeah, it's a pretty epic story, and it keeps going every day. I'm a sovereign being. I'm having the most fun